G'day, it's Lisa again from Sand Between Our Toez. What I'm just going to quickly show you today is for camera purposes, I'll show you how we hook up and what we do before we leave a caravan park, and tomorrow we're going off the grid and we're going into a free park or a free camp or a cheap camp. Anyway, there'll be no power and there'll be no water. So I'm just getting ready to do that. We've got no one that's behind us coming in tonight. So we're going to hook up now and then we'll just push the van back off of our site and just be back off the road. And then tomorrow morning when we're ready to go, we can just chuff straight out without disturbing the neighbours, because this whole process is fairly rattly and clangy, a little bit noisy. So what Leanne and I have done just now is we've just backed the car up. First things first, we've made sure that all the water has been disconnected from the van. Again, for camera purposes, we're still hooked up, so we've still got the power, but I've just disconnected the water and our black hose away from the back. All the jacks, I've taken the pressure off of those and I've brought them up and I've put them into their locking in position. That's the travel position. For us to be able to take the weight off of those legs and drop it down onto the ball and to get level. Gas is turned off, and I've still got the chocks behind the wheels, so it won't, the van won't move on us. So that's what I've done. If this was a serious takeaway and we were ready to go, of course I'd have the bed in. That's that box that's poking out the side there. That would be in, and the power would also be disconnected. But for this purpose, it's still out for the moment. That's how we do it. So from here, once we've got it onto the ball, that's done. I've got the little safety pin connected in there as well. So that's in there, just in the event of this. If you come around this side there and you'll see that this opens and closes. So that little pin will just stop that from coming adrift in transport. What I do from there is I start to put the chains in. We cross those over. Just an old trick that my dad taught me. All I do is undo this D-shackle. It's got the little pin on there. Poke that in there. And then I just do it up again. Now that only needs to be finger tight. You don't overdo that because we'll just end up buggering up the thread on that little nut there. Do the same on this side. Do that up. Rightio. So effectively now, the car and the van are together. They're not going to come apart. That this is locked in. The chains are going to hold us there. We've still got the park brake on. I don't take that off at this point. This is the last thing I do. This bar here is my leverage bar. It just helps me to be able to put more handle, more tension to be able to lift that. And that's why I have that bar. What you'll see here is I've got a whole heap of stuff. So I've got some electricals there. At this point, I'm not worrying about those. They're staying there. What I need to do from here is, whilst I still have the jack bearing weight, is I need to hook up the distribution bars from this point to this point. And that's what helps us to level the van up and keep the car and the van more level. So you don't get that pointy bit of the ute being on an angle like that and the caravan being like that. It brings it up level, and that's what these bars do. If you were to look back on us now, you would see that we would look that way. That it would look like the bottom of the ute was quite low, as was the caravan. So these bars that I'm going to put on help us to be able to level that up. What we do to do that is, again, we've got the chocks on and we've got the brake on, we've got the chains on, so it's all very safe. We're not going anywhere. I'm going to jack this up.
And why are you jacking it up?
It just makes it easier. Takes less physical strength to be able to put these bars on, and I'll show you why. So you just jack that till it gets to a point where you can feel some resistance and it starts to get quite tight, because what it's done is it's brought the ute up and the van up, because of course they're joined. So you bring it up, and that's when we put the bars on. Distribution bar.
I'll say that again.
Or a distribution bar or a weight distribution hitch. This has been set up by our auto electricians. When I say set up, it means that they've measured the weight of this and the weight of this and the distance between the gap of the top of the tyre and the gap to the top of the caravan arch. And they've mathematically worked it out that then when we put the tension on these chains, then that levels us up. So all we do to put that in, put this in, it's got like a little groove in there, and we just put that in there, just push it up and spin it around, and that's effectively locked in. And then we've got the chains. Again, a part of the measurement from our auto electrician when he teed us up. He's told me that this link here, the one with the little cable tie on it, that's the one that we need to drop then onto this pin here, and that just moves. So all we do from this point is just lower that down, grab hold of that chain, make sure that the chains are straight, that they're not kinked, and that they're not pinched, that they're quite free, that they're, as you can see, they're all in line. So all we do is bring that up to there, put that into there. You can see that I've hooked it over that one there. Just hold it with just one finger, put the bar in on the other one, stand back so you don't lose your 2 front teeth, and you can hear that and feel how much tension that's just put on. That's just taken that weight.
Now if you didn't jack up the jack, then that would have been a lot harder to do that.
Correct. So if I had have left the jack down and this whole level was on an angle down, it would have made it really hard, physically strong, and to be able to put those chains on. So I'll do the same on the other side. So this is the second one. I never mentioned just a moment ago, but because we're going to do a big drive tomorrow, I've made sure that everything is nice and greased up. So where this point is here that goes into the back of the hitch, that's quite lubed up now. So it just means we don't get that friction and that heat, and it keeps everything in nice moving working order. So the same on this side. We just bring it under. We're here for that click. If it doesn't click, it's no big deal, and you'll know you haven't done it right because that will just fall out. So I know that's in and good and strong. Again, we bring that around. The same deal on this side. We look for where I've got my little marker there. Make sure that it's straight, that it's not crooked, and you just hold all the other chains out of the way. Bring this down. This is the hook here we're looking for that's on the inside. Bring this up, put that on there, hold it with the other hand, use the leverage bar, put it on, stand back because we want our front teeth, and we flick it over. The final part of that is, and I won't do it now because I need to drop the tail of the ute down, is that there's some pins in my drawer inside there, and the pins then go into this little hole down here, and I'll put a pin through there and a pin through on the other side, again just as a safety mechanism that this doesn't slip off. Not that it ever will, because that's under enormous pressure right there. That is that's a heap of weight that's now taking. The final part of this distribution part is then I'm ready to be able to take this hydraulic jack away, and that's quite simple. All I do is I lower it, take the pressure off, and that's it.
Can you explain, Lisa, about the Anderson plugs?
Sure.
And your pin.
All right. So part of the electrical setup for how we do it is we've got the standard pins here. You can see those here. But from experience, when they do the wiring and wire up the configuration in here to be able to tow a caravan, this pin here, and I don't remember what number it is to be honest, but this one here, if you have a good look at that, you'll see that it's actually quite scorched. And so what we've done is without having to rewire or reconfigure the wiring in here and the caravan component of it, we've taken away that pin, which is the fridge, and we've got a designated Anderson plugs now. So we've got 2 Anderson plugs and 2 at the back of the car. What they are is they're just a heavier cable, and now one is a designated for our fridge, so we don't cook the pin in there. And all we do with those is we just slip them straight over. There can only be a right way. There is no wrong way. It won't go in. So we just slot them in, push them in. And the other one that we have is for the battery. So that means that when we're towing and the car battery is running, so under auxiliary, that the car will recharge the battery that's in the caravan as well, and the car will also generate the power necessary to keep the fridge running whilst we're driving as well. These don't work, of course, when the car's not running. You need to be really mindful of that. If you haven't got a relay set up to your battery of your car, that very quickly you can drain the battery in your car. So you need to be really mindful that when you stop the car to take a rest spot, or go a bit sightseeing, or doing whatever you're doing, if you leave all these electricals connected, that they are drawing power from your battery. And so all we do with that is it's just got a little flick, locks into the side. This groove here is what we're looking to line up there. If you can't see those grooves, or if you've got it upside down, you simply look at the pins. The ones at the top are the fat ones, and the ones at the bottom are the little ones, and they just line up with what's going on in there. And all you do is you line them up, give it a little jiggle, and then that top cap comes over and locks in. Effectively, that's it. This other one we've got here is our camera, and we'll talk about that another time. And I'm not going to hook that up for this exercise, because as I mentioned to you earlier, this is just for us to be ready to go tomorrow. So this is all we do. For the sake of the video too, I've shown you this, but I won't leave these hooked up overnight, because I don't want it to drain the car. That's the battery of the car. That's it. That's all we do. From here, we just hook everything up. This is our breakaway. All we do with that is that goes into this other spare D-shackle that's up here. And what this is when we're driving, if there's a problem and for whatever reason, if the car and the caravan become separated, that this will pull this pin that's in here, pulls out. Currently it's a green light, that will go red, and this will put the brakes on the caravan in the event of it coming apart from the ute. And that's what that is. That's a fairly new thing, a new safety feature that caravans have. I'm not sure what year that come in, but it's only a couple of years old. We're in a 2019 Jayco Silverline, and these are very present in that model and the last couple of years before that.
Could you show us why you use the lever for the taking off the brake?
Sure. So again, it's just a strength thing. If I were to do that by my own hand to try and pull that up, I'm naturally right-handed, and the way this is positioned, that means I've got to pull it left-handed. I don't have the same strength. So by having a bar, I'm able to leverage. So all I do is just a hollow, and it just goes over the handle. That way I can just pull it just with one-handed. And all it's doing then is changing where this little pointy bit, if you look inside there's some grooves, and that's or teeth. So this bit here goes into there, and that engages then this cable at the back here that runs to the back where the tyres are and locks us on our brakes. So like I said, if I were to pull that just with my hand, I'm probably only going to get it into the third groove. But if I use the bar, I can make sure that brake is on nice and tight, and I can leverage that up, drop that down, and I can get it into another tooth. So it just puts it on a bit stronger. Other than that, for today's exercise of how that all runs, that's what that is. Rightio, so that's in principle how we hook up. If you guys have got any questions, if you want to know a little bit more, if you want me to explain anything a little bit better or in more detail, then you know where to hit us up. Find us on Facebook, find us on YouTube. We're Sand Between Our Toez, that's toes with a Z, and that's where you'll find me, Lisa. That's where you'll find Leanne behind the camera, and the two muttleys that are in the caravan at the moment. That's it. Subscribe to us, and we'll check in with you again real soon. Catch ya.